This is episode 4 of Doublethink Film Speak podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Fantastic Planet, which is a 1973 movie, so it's going to be a little bit different. This is going to be one of those episodes where we kind of go and talk about an older movie that we hadn't seen and just kind of discuss maybe why it's important, maybe why people like it, what's cool about it, what's not.
This and that, right on. Yeah, because there's a lot of old movies that we haven't seen. Yeah. So I think it'll be interesting to get a new perspective on it. Right. Fresh takes, as it were.
Yeah. Get them hot takes on them
hot
old
takes.
movies.
Spicy takes, man.
Yep.
It's an animated movie. It's French, very French, in fact.
Yep.
So French that they speak it.
Yep. Crazy.
Yeah. Good flick though.
Yeah.
I liked
overall, it's a fantastic movie.
Stop it there. Cut it off.
It's over.
No, yeah.
Podcast is ending there.
Yeah. No, tight shit. Yeah, it really is fantastic, though, for sure.
Yeah. It has a very unique art style that is very reminiscent of something that would be done in the 70s.
Yeah. Well, because it looks like some Ryan Larkin shit. If you don't know who that is, he's a very talented animator from Canada. And he did his shit during the 70s, right? That was like... Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's when all his like
same era.
Major ones came out. Well, they looked the same, so I'd hope so.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, style was really, really, really dope. I don't know. Some people said it was too much. It was too strong. I'm like, I don't know how animation could be too strong, but that's what they say.
I mean, if you didn't want to watch an animated movie, then I can understand why this one would be too much for you.
But if you don't want to watch an animated movie, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
First of all, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have a boner for animation, but still, it's an underappreciated art form, especially in a day and age where they get shit out as kids movies, which, don't get me wrong, that's fine. Like, I'm not going to sit here and cry about it, but to see good, especially 2D animation, right? Because there's not as many shortcuts with 2D animation versus like 3D. I mean, you know more about this because you know how to animate and shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know. To see good 2D animation, first of all, you don't see it nowadays anymore.
Well, and especially for the 70s, to see 2D animation from like not
Disney.
Yeah, like an independent film is really next level, because it's not...
No one had the time or money besides Disney.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And back then it was like, it's just to appeal to kids, and animation's softer. You can do a lot more fun things with it, cartoons and shit like that. Yeah. But this, you can call it a cartoon if you want. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely... It's really the first feature-length type film that I've seen that's animated for adults. Like, it is for adults. A kid would not get anything out of this film. Yeah. They'd probably fall asleep 20 minutes in. Yeah.
I mean, I'll admit the first 20 minutes are a little... they're not boring. They're important. They're set up. I get it.
Yeah, it just sets up the universe, which is more indicative of the problem with like sci-fi movies of the time, right? Than this particular film.
The problem is that if you're not interested in the universe or the way things look, like you're not gonna be too into it. You know what I mean? It's not gonna hook you there. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that was rated PG. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not see that.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow, France, you definitely have different rules. Because there was hella nudity, but I guess Europe doesn't care about that.
No,
you know what
even
I mean?
then, I feel
and violence. It was pretty violent.
Just the time.
That too, yeah. No, you're probably right.
Even in France today, I don't think you could get away with this.
They're a bunch of pussies PG. Anyway.
But, yeah.
Yeah. No, you're probably right. But, no, I would not show this to kids.
No.
Well, I mean, it would just go over their heads anyway.
Right. Yeah. Once you take out the violence and the...
Yeah. Well,
like sex aspect, it still just wouldn't appeal to them in any way.
Exactly. Well, and I don't know, especially because the movie has a narrative and there's story, obviously, but it's not. It's not direct,
right?
It's an art film. You know,
Sure. Yeah.
because that was one thing where I was just like, I feel like this is more of like a exhibition. It felt more like, you know what I mean? Like I felt more like I was observing than watching. I know those kind of mean the same thing, but you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, and I would agree with that until maybe the last 20 minutes when I was like, man.
Yeah, because like
they are working towards a bigger story, not just kind of the story justifies the animation.
Exactly.
The story also kind of had something to tell.
Well, and I think they weren't. To me, I mean, obviously I wasn't there, but to me, it wasn't like they're like, here's the story that we want to tell. How should we do it? To me, it seemed like they were like, let's do an animation. Like the style came first, you know what I mean, and that formed the story and the narrative, and all of that. Yeah, because that can totally be the case when you're making something. Whatever format you use completely decides what the story is or the direction and the this and that. Right.
Yeah. A lot of the plants and creatures in the background, that's almost what they felt like, where it was something that the director or someone had just animated.
Yeah.
And then when they made the movie, they're like, yeah, we could put this in this scene. We could throw this in the background. We could do this. Because there were so many unique plant animation and creature animations. Dope. It was fantastic.
The environments were out of this world.
Got them.
Yeah. No, but literally, kind of. I don't know. I feel like it was sort of implied that, like, because it said that because there's humans in the story. I mean, at this point, I assume you've seen it. And the humans said they were from Terra. That's another word for Earth, if you don't know.
Right.
So I think it was kind of implied that Earth like exists in this universe. There's not just humans.
Existed, and at some point, humans got taken off of that planet.
It doesn't really explain why.
Or
right.
Yeah. Somehow they got to this other planet with these huge beings.
Exactly. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, it totally is a sci-fi flick, but sci-fi doesn't do it justice. If you look at it on if you look at it, I was looking at it on Wikipedia and said it's an animated sci-fi film. Like, no, it is, but no, it's not.
I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. It's more than that.
Yeah.
The story really isn't sci-fi in like a major way that you would expect with some kind of space battle.
I mean, there are rockets in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, but even then, it's not a huge part of the story.
I mean, really, the only
it's more of an ends to a means to an end.
Yeah, the only qualifying factor for sci-fi is that there's aliens. But I mean, there's humans too, and technically the humans are aliens. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it's the whatever they call it. It's the aliens planet.
Yeah.
No Earth. So it feels weird to say that there's aliens.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It touched on a lot of things. I think what it really touched on to me was like tribalism.
Yeah.
Because they're you could tell they're different tribes. In the what the hell did they call them? God, I can't remember what the aliens were called. It started with a D. Whatever.
I don't remember.
Anyway, the point is, there are tribes within them. There are tribes within the humans, which there weren't very many humans, and they're smaller than the aliens. At first, I thought they were treated like dogs on the planet, but then they're kind of treated like rats. It's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it was kind of in the middle.
And then they're like, they are intelligent. Like, that's why there's like a fear.
They're fine as pets, but they're not okay as wild ones.
And it's also pretty clear that they mention Earth, and then there's like a danger about them, and not in the way that we fear certain animals, getting too dregs. Thank you. We fear certain animals getting too popular. Like, we don't want a bunch of rats, but that's just because they carry diseases and they're kind of dirty. That's it. Whereas I feel like there's a legitimate fear, like these humans, or Ohms as they call them, are smart.
Sure.
So it's almost as if these the dregs had seen Earth, had seen that like humans have civilization, order, and this and that.
But and I didn't expect it to get to the political side.
Oh, but it did.
A bunch of people arguing, and they were like,
"It was great."
Oh, no, these things are fine. They're completely harmless and stupid.
Yeah.
They don't have any mental capacity above just a plaything.
Right.
And then other ones were, this is going to be the downfall if we let these things get out of hand.
Yeah. I don't know. It was very interesting. It was kind of sad. And like, I mean, at some point you put yourself in the dregs and the humans' position. Like, you relate to the humans because you are one, but I feel like you definitely relate more to the dregs because they're like, I mean, at first, like, you don't really know if the humans are intelligent. I mean, you know, the main character, Tara, definitely, I mean, he narrates, but you still don't really assume like, you assume that the aliens are so intelligent that our intelligence doesn't matter.
Right.
You know, like, wait, like, dolphins are smart and shit, but they're not... They're not fucking cities. They're not driving down there, are they?
Right.
You know,
yeah.
That's kind of the difference. So that's kind of what I assumed it was.
Yeah.
That you know, the dregs were so smart that our intelligence it didn't even compare. So why bother? You know what I mean?
Well, and I mean, really, that was the truth, because if the main character had never gotten the device to learn everything that they were learning, it's not that we didn't have the capacity. It's just that we didn't have the knowledge. We didn't have a way to get the knowledge.
Right.
So once he found out a way to get the knowledge, then, I mean, that was it. It was over.
And I liked the way that knowledge was like, it was like a scary thing.
Yeah.
I think that really said a lot. You know what I mean? When he brought knowledge to that tribe that found him, and they were all scared. They're like, we don't trust you and shit. And then he even went to the other tribe, the Hollow Bush people or whatever. He's like, yeah, I know that they're gonna try to kill us all because I can read. And they're like, you can't read, you don't know shit.
Yeah, they're like, you're just making this up.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, you have their technology? Fuck you. You know what I mean? The tribalism in this movie, I'm like, that speaks out to me mostly. People, you know, I was reading about it a little bit, about its reception. People are talking about racism and this and that. I'm like, it's all tribalism, and I guess racism is kind of tribal in its own way, but I mean,
I guess in the 70s you could probably apply it that way.
Yeah, they're talking about like apartheid in like South Africa and shit. I'm like, no, you need to zoom the fuck out and see like the bigger picture.
But that's what I mean. Like
racism, I feel like that's too human. I'm like, this is tribalism that exists within multiple species. Sure. It's very common. That's just a life thing.
Well, and just to watch it now versus the 70s, it's just further away.
And certainly in our current political climate, it's very, you know, that's definitely not, I mean, I don't know the 70s that well, but it doesn't seem like it was quite the case then.
Yeah,
you know, maybe they would just associate it with racism, but I mean, there are a lot of themes touched upon in this movie.
Well, and a lot of them indirectly. Some of the best scenes were kind of the implied situations.
Yeah.
Not even what was actually happening on screen.
Yeah.
Even with the whole, like, ritual thing that they did, where the people would, like, eat the thing and then they'd start glowing and all that. Well, it was...
A lot of movies, and I feel like now this is especially the case, they think for you. They tell you what to think. I don't have a problem with that, you know. You know, there's a time and place for a direct narrative that they're like, this is what we're trying to get across, you know. But here, it's definitely it's a two-way street. You know, you're watching, but you basically tell the own story, your own story in your head. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the best parts about it. I like movies that do that.
Yeah, me too. And part of that too is just being an indie film. They tend to do that.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly.
It's just
because I mean, like, not to sound like a pretentious twat, but people don't like to do that. You know, when they go to a movie, they want to be entertained. They want to, skip their life a little bit. Unless you're into film, like, you're just probably not into that. And I respect that. That's fine. But this is definitely one of those movies. It will not hold your hand. You know, I mean, it's more direct than, 2001: A Space Odyssey or something, but
sure, right. It has a more direct thing to tell you about.
Yeah. It's a clear movie. It's not like convoluted or anything, but you got to do some of the work,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a powerful part of it. That's its power in and of itself.
Yeah, definitely. The characters fit together even without a lot of dialogue too.
Yes.
Like, there was a decent amount of dialogue, but not as much as I would really expect.
Oh no, definitely not.
And so it told a lot just through the animation and the art of it.
So good. Well, the thing is an absolute visual masterpiece,
Yeah.
Like it. I'm serious. Any shot in that movie is a wallpaper.
Right.
It's just. Oh yeah. It's gorgeous.
For sure.
And got the music. Can we talk about the damn score?
Real good.
Holy shit, it was so good. There are times that I was just grooving. You know what I mean? I hear a lot of scores where I'm like, I like this or whatever, but this one was really like I don't listen to film scores. I'm not that weird yet. I'll get there, but
yeah,
this is one where I'm like, whoa. Well, because it definitely mixed in a lot of psychedelic and there's some funk, jazz. I'm just like,
right,
yeah. And it's I was looking at Mac Miller sampled it in one of his songs or whatever, and I was looking at who else had sampled it. Tons of producers had sampled it in the hip hop world. I didn't know that. Very commonly sampled movie,
which is crazy.
Yeah, but
I had really never heard of it.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it either. Literally yesterday, you're like, "This movie is cool. It's got a lot of good animation. Let's watch it."
Yeah,
and so I was like, "Okay." And
because I had gotten the Filmstruck app,
right.
And I just saw the cover with the alien.
It looks dope.
Like, man,
this
that's
looks
a
dope.
cool looking alien. But I just thought it was an image for, a live action movie. I didn't think anything of it. And then when I clicked on it, they're like, no, this is a fully animated movie from the 70s.
And anytime you're like, here's a full length animated movie, I'm like, yes, here we go.
Yep.
Especially 2D animation.
Yeah.
Because 3D animation is great. Pixar is great. All of that. But you just, I don't know. There's just some magic in 2D animation. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
That really, you can just tell it was done by hand. No computers.
Right.
Which, obviously I don't have a problem with fucking computers or doing things digitally. It's a lot easier. I get it. But I don't know. I really think there is a certain magic to it. And I think that's kind of lost nowadays,
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the creatures were what that really excelled at.
Yes.
Because some of the creatures, they're really just transition scenes, but the animation is so interesting in them that it justifies any scene where there's not talking, there's not anything.
Yes.
Because you just want to see
it's eye candy.
What the hell's... Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Basically.
Yeah.
It is animation porn at its finest.
Well, and that's the thing about any medium. If you can touch on important themes while also exhibiting the power of whatever medium you're using, that's kind of the pinnacle of art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You draw a picture and also touch on something important, it doesn't get better. That's what you do.
Right.
So for a movie to do that, this, to me, this... I would put this up there with 2001: A Space Odyssey, Yeah. Because that showed the power of live action and camera shots, and that was I think that's one of the first movies to really, really demonstrate cinematography and the fucking gorgeous power of it.
Right.
And this movie does the same thing with animation.
Yeah.
I don't know, they just go together, if you ask me.
Yep.
Except this movie makes a hell of a lot more sense.
Yeah. It makes more sense, but at the same time, I didn't expect anything out of it really story wise.
No.
I was like, whatever. It'll be decent. It'll get us through or whatever. It'll just be a fantastic.
I didn't think it was gonna be that
movie.
I didn't think there's gonna be that much dialogue anyway.
Right, but as the story started, I was like, I kind of get where this is probably going.
Yeah.
I feel like it just kept taking turns, and I was like, man, okay, I actually genuinely did not expect something like that to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it starts off with Terry and his mother running or whatever, and she ends up dying because it turns out some kids are just fucking around, because they're basically like bugs or rats or whatever, and kids are assholes.
Yep.
They do that type of shit, but Tara survives as a baby, and one of the dregs I can't remember her name now, but takes him home and raises him or whatever, and he's narrating it, so that's just kind of what I assumed it was going to be.
Yeah.
Almost like the view of life from a pet, right?
Right.
But then it goes way beyond that.
Yeah.
The pet finds its own fucking planet.
Well, yeah, in the final scene, when they find out why the aliens are meditating and then start taking them out,
yes.
It was... I did not expect that at all.
Yeah. Well, and now this is just kind of my summation, and I don't know, maybe I'm just projecting or whatever, this and that, but it shows the Dregs as a super intelligent species. Oh, they're enlightened, they're this and that, they meditate. And to me, in the 70s, that seems like a direct reaction to like hippie, peaceful, like culture, you know what I mean? Because they were really into like Eastern philosophy and like meditating and this and that.
Yeah.
It seems like that's a direct reaction to be like, yeah, they're meditating this and that, but they were also violent. They also had problems,
Right.
They're still like humanoid and this and that,
Mm.
I don't know. I kind of enjoyed that. Because I don't give a shit how much you meditate, you're still a human,
Right. It just presents them as this super smart, super civilized organization, and then you realize they're just as fucked up as humans.
Yeah.
And they are basically treating these humans like rats.
Yeah. And like, these aliens, these Dregs have amazing technology. They just put on a headset and learn. That's it.
Yeah.
They don't go to class. They don't have time for that shit. They don't, you don't go to college, high school, blah, 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 blah. You just stay at home, put on a headset, call it.
Yep.
And I don't know. It was kind of powerful in a way, but it wasn't like heavy-handed. It could have made it like I was kind of worried that it was going to go that way, like
be too political, be too in its own way, story-wise,
and be like super like animal rights, like like I mean, there's a point where you're like, man, maybe I should never have pets again, but it was totally reasonable about it. But it's like, yeah, it kind of had the idea going along with it that like having pets is kind of slavery, but it's like
there's a way to live in harmony, basically.
Yeah. And here's the thing. We can't send dogs to space. They're not going to find a fucking planet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where in this movie, they made it clear they're like, no, humans are smart. They can figure shit out. It's just like,
yeah,
they're not just
they
quite
just didn't have the means. Now they have the means, so.
Yeah, exactly. And, at the very end, they're like, yeah, we looked through their caves and this, and then they understand order. Like, they organize things. They have cities. They have structure.
Well, that's the thing where I feel it's similar. If dogs all of a sudden we found out had this great bunch of communication and were really intelligent and were smarter than dolphins,
I'd be like, my bad.
We'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. We can totally live together because we did not understand.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? You want the moon? Knock yourself out.
Have fun.
Yeah. You can build a rocket? Dude, take it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was... Yeah. I feel like a lot of movies get too heavy-handed with that shit, especially nowadays. Everyone in Hollywood has a damn agenda.
Art type indie films,
they're hippies, man.
Have an agenda,
which is I don't.
They have a specific story to tell. They're not just making a blockbuster. Nobody makes a blockbuster indie film.
No,
it's just
and even if they do, they have a point to make, man.
Yeah,
and that's fine. I respect that, but at the same time, it's refreshing to see it be fair. I feel like this was fair in that regard. it doesn't make you feel bad for being alive. I kind of hate when movies do that. It's just like,
yeah, they're like,
that's not.
Isn't humanity a piece of shit? And it's like, well,
I'm like, I don't know. And
I don't really want to watch a movie.
Well, plus, I always feel like it's weird. It's weird to judge like humanity through a human perspective. You get what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
to sit there and be like, yeah, humanity is garbage. I'm like, yeah, from a human perspective. You know what I mean? If humanity is so garbage, then how can you have an objective perspective to look at yourself and be like, yep, the worst?
Well, and you're almost implying, I can see that humanity's garbage, so I don't contribute.
Yeah, it's a bit of self-righteousness.
Well, you contribute to it.
Yeah, and like, humanity can be the worst. We do some bad things, but I don't know. I'm new. I get it. I'm an outlier with a lot of that shit.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't pushy.
Yeah.
Which, I'll be this guy. For a French indie art film that wasn't pushy, hats off, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We really,
it really was about the art. I think, first and foremost.
Well, we really have this idea that, like, French people are like fucking this and that, pretentious, blah 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 blah. But this blew that all the hell out of the water.
Right.
Now I'm looking at Americans. I'm like, all right, we need to get our shit together. These French people, they know what the hell is going on.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
They know how to direct a good animated flick.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it since the 70s? Okay.
Yeah, seriously. Everyone talks about like French movies and this and that. I'm like, okay, here we go. But I'm like, I should watch more French movies.
Sure.
After this.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe they have their shit together with, film in general, cinematography, this and that.
Well, I feel that another thing that works in the film's favor, which doesn't really work if you're French, is it actually made the film better to watch it with subtitles. Because for the majority of the movie, it's like you're listening to the aliens.
And they speak an alien language.
So they speak an alien language, and you're like, oh, okay, I don't understand what they're saying, so I have to have subtitles.
Yeah.
Then even when the humans are talking, they seem caveman-like.
Yeah.
So it's also like you don't understand their language.
Yeah.
So it works for both sides, kind of, to not understand the actual language being spoken. And
that's the thing. If aliens spoke another language and somehow humans ended up there and building up the new society, they would speak that language.
Right.
So it totally, yeah. I definitely think that it's almost better for foreigners. I think it kind of is a strength, and that maybe is why it's so popular everywhere else. That's why.
That's what I mean. If I couldn't imagine knowing how to speak French and watching this movie,
it'd be funky.
I feel like it'd just be a letdown.
And now I think about it, I'm like, man, maybe I should be watching like all these alien movies in other languages.
Yeah,
with intelligent aliens, of course. But yeah, I'm just like, maybe I'm missing out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was just like a rival type feeling.
For sure. Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Where they have to, because a lot of these movies, for obvious reasons, a Star Wars. Yeah, I don't really want subtitles for every alien species.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, and I wouldn't want.
Well, but this movie isn't. But for a movie that's not heavy on dialogue, it's perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah, it has dialogue where it needs it, but elsewhere it's fine. It
lets the art do the talking. It's got it.
Yeah, exactly. It does. It really does.
Yeah.
Some of those creatures in there, I don't know. It's one of the few movies that I see, because I feel like when they do aliens or like any extraterrestrials, they'll make animals and wildlife and this, and I'm like, that's cool, but it just looks like, oh, here's a pig with wings. Oh, right. Here's like
here's an animal you already know,
but kind of weird. Different. Yeah, but this one I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
these ones definitely, and that's what I mean, where they feel like they were started as a sketch in just some,
and they just snowballed.
And yeah, they snowballed and they animated them, and they're like, nice, we're gonna throw it in this transition scene. In this transition scene.
And I don't know about you, but I like to do that. As an artist, sometimes when I draw pictures, I try to draw creatures that are like completely beyond comprehension.
Right.
You know what I mean? That don't make any sense. And I feel like this movie did a great job of doing that while keeping it grounded.
Yeah.
In a film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's too easy to get lost in that trap, trying to make something look so weird that you don't get it. But whereas this is like, well, this is probably how life exists most places.
Well, even like the creatures that make the clothing, you first look at them and man, these things look weird. And then you realize that the thing that's like falling out of their mouth is some kind of thread or material that they use to make these clothes, and it's
well, and the nice thing about the movie is it doesn't hold your hand, and it doesn't do that because like I feel like a lot of movies do that to be artistic and be like, this movie doesn't hold your hand, this and that, you know. It does it to be almost combative, whereas this movie, it does it because it's like it wants you to use your imagination. It's really putting the movie in your hands,
right?
Which it's not an easy fucking thing to do.
No, it is one of those where after we got done watching it, I did wonder what the plot was really supposed to tell me. And I was just
so open-ended.
Yeah.
Which you can't fucking beat. You just can't.
Yep.
If you ask me, it's definitely one of the greatest animated films of all time. One of the greatest ones I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, I would put that up to about with pretty much any animated film. You know what I mean? And, you know, I'd put it in different categories. You know, like with the Pixar.
I mean, for sure, if you separate it into 2D, it wins.
I mean, well, I don't know. You Don Hertzfeldt. Don't shake your Don Hertzfeldt, man.
Sure.
All right, that's another podcast. But this is the only thing that has measured up to that for me.
Sure.
You know, because I'm just especially because 2D animation is one of those mediums. I'm like, dude, you got to be dedicated. Yeah. You don't mess around with 2D animation, man. You know, people mess around with painting and mess around with like music and producing on the computer. You don't mess around with 2D animation. That shit is hard. It takes a lot of work. It's painstaking effort.
Well, and that's why I liked this so much. Is Ryan Larkin's short films are so good, but they're short. They are 5 minutes, and it's not a lot.
No,
because it's a lot of hand painting. Oh my God. It's a lot of
especially back then. Especially back then.
To see someone actually
do the work, man.
A similar kind of art style and put the work in to make it. I mean, it's not an hour and a half. It's not 2 hours, but an hour and 12 minutes is pretty good for a 2D animated film in the 70s.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, to be honest, I mean, I think movies are too long nowadays. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't think movies are too long. I feel like no movies justify their length anymore. You know, I feel like even Shape of Water, I'm like, okay, come on, man,
wrap it up.
Yeah, get to the damn point. But this movie justified its length. If it had been any longer, I'd be like, you know, they kind of. I mean, I guess they could have expanded a little bit, but any more than 90 minutes, and it would have been it would have been grueling, man.
Yeah,
it would have been difficult to get through.
Yep.
I don't know. It was a powerful movie, I think.
And it's one of those movies where the art excels so much. The problem with a film like The Shape of Water is it's hard to rewatch, because as good as the art direction is and the world and the cinematography, it doesn't matter because I still have to put up with the story, basically.
Yeah, it's true.
Whereas this one, even if you didn't really like the story, you could go back and watch the film because it's just so beautiful.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I would watch Shape of Water again, but it's only because I want to see certain scenes again. Sure. You know, I think we even talked about that in the episode about it. Is I'm like, yeah, there's scenes I want to see again, but watching again, I would really have to be in a certain like headspace. Like, it'd have to be a perfect time to do it, you know. Whereas this movie, put it on any time. Yeah, it's an hour and 12 minutes, whatever. Yep. And there's definitely more to unpack with it. You know, I feel like there's more to unpack with every watch.
Yeah, it is one of those where there's probably more going on than I realized. Yeah. So more watches will be,
because I don't realize shit.
Yeah. More watches will definitely add to the film.
Yeah, it'll improve it, and
that's all you can ask from a movie.
That's all you can ask for from art, like replayability or whatever it is, re-listenability, lookability, whatever. If you go back to a piece of art, like, there's so much art in the world. If you can get someone to come back, that's a powerful thing.
Right.
You know, people do it with music a lot just because, like, you know, it puts you in a mood or whatever. But
that, and it's by far the shortest.
Yeah, you can just listen to a song.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you, like, you know, I have albums I go back to. You know, I'll be like, I'm listening to this record. That's it. The records, I'll only listen to the record. I won't listen to songs. I don't even know what. I don't even know the song titles. I couldn't go back to certain spots if I wanted to.
Right.
And for a movie to do that, for an hour-long process to do that, 2 hours, whatever, you just can't beat it.
But part of it is in that range. You got an hour, watch the movie. Boom.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Or put it on in the background.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know what's going on, just, I mean, it's eye candy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't stress enough the visual beauty.
Yeah.
Of the film. It's, and all the weird little things it gets into, and I don't know. I get it.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
It's kind of a unique movie.
Yeah, it's just a cool little thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and the one thing that I realized, which I kind of feel when I see an indie movie, but specifically with this one, is watching it, I'm like, this is something that, like, I would make.
Yeah.
Like, it
oh, yeah.
I could see where the guy's coming from.
Yes.
It was clearly some kind of a passion project. It's not just, oh, we had this idea, we got these people together, and then we made this.
Yeah.
It was just a passion project, and this is just what he wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't start with the story and say, what's the best way to tell it?
Right.
He started with the way of telling it and was like, okay, I guess I need a story. And somehow the narrative, the story, turned out great.
Yeah. Well, in certain parts of the story, the animation makes the most sense. I'm like, yeah, you could have done that live action, but it would have been weird.
Yeah, I don't know if this movie...
the story fit the animation, and the animation fit the story. It worked both ways.
Yeah, if I'd seen this movie like live action, I'd have been like, this is fine.
Yeah,
but it wouldn't have done itself any favors.
No, definitely.
You know, and I feel like I'm kind of putting down the story, but that's what happens when the visuals are so good. You know what I mean?
Well, and the story is just so hard to interpret on one watch.
It's very general.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and that's the idea. I think it's supposed to have multiple interpretations, but to me, it was all about tribalism.
Yeah.
And, just looking at things different, looking at people different, even when I assume they're some sort of political leaders of the dregs met and talked and this and that. There was like a council, and then there was like a higher council, and they were all from different tribes. Like, they were different colors, and they had different patterns and this and that, and they all had a different viewpoint. There's some that were like, let's get new technology to kill them. And then there were other people that were like, we should stop domesticating them. And then there's the one guy who was just like, I don't think that's going to help us at all. Like, we should probably be friends with them. Like, it's too late.
Right. They already know.
The humans have gotten out of hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think he just realizes, like there's nothing we can do. Like, humans are smart. They will learn. And I think that's another thing that goes back to, like, information is dangerous. And not like, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that, I guess I should say, information is powerful.
Yeah.
And that's what the humans got, and that's what brought the dregs down. Well, it didn't bring them down, but that's what, took them off their high fucking horse, took them off their pedestal.
Right.
Just information. And I think that's the most powerful thing in the movie.
Right. Yeah.
Is how important just information was.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it wasn't like in a war movie where they're like, oh, this is how you take down their secret base. Oh, this is how their weapons work. No, it's just like, this is how you read. And that was, and then they were right where the fucking dregs were. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. That was, I've never seen a film touch on that. I've seen few art projects talk about that.
Yeah.
How just powerful information is.
Sure.
And I think that really, really speaks to our. I mean, we're in the information age.
Yeah.
If you're not aware, man, the internet. There's so much damn information.
Right.
And that's why everyone's losing their minds, because there's too much. It's an overload. We really have to, or we're gonna have to figure out how to, delve into it and figure out what to do with it. We're in a state of flux because of that.
Right.
And I feel like this film demonstrated that. So it is kind of serendipitous to watch it now. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah. It kind of means
more now
of different things now than it would have in the 70s.
Well, and in the 70s, they were getting more information too because of television and this and that. And,
right.
Technology has been on a ridiculous boom since the turn of the 20th century. But but now with the internet, it's just, well, that's the thing, to stream it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We streamed this film. We streamed this information, talking about how amazing information is.
Well, and even the device that, it streams the information into your head.
Yeah.
With visuals.
What does that sound like?
Maybe the thing we're doing right now. Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, it was. This movie is really like looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
But in a mirror where everything looks way cooler.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah. I don't know. But it didn't pull any punches either. You know what I mean? Yep. It wasn't too safe. It was as safe as it needed to be. It was non-combative. It was matter of fact, I should say.
Yep.
Very matter of fact film, and watch it.
Yep. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because you watched it on Filmstruck.
Yes.
Does that app cost money?
Yeah.
How much?
Like $7 or $10 if you want the Criterion collection.
Okay.
Which is like a collection of a bunch of extra.
Even if you only pay
awesome movies.
I'm serious. If you have $10, just pay for that. Watch the movie.
I mean, I'm sure it's on Google Play and.
I'm sure there are multiple ways to watch it, but well, you should probably just pay for Filmstruck anyway, because Filmstruck is cool. But well, and I mean, I don't know about the Criterion collection, but it definitely belongs there.
Yeah, it does.
And I because I'd never heard of it until now, and I'm kind of sad that I did. And I'm like, people should be talking about this more.
Yeah. When I saw it on there, it's clearly a loved movie.
Yeah.
But I am positive I had never even heard the name.
I don't know. It seems like it's almost a cult classic. I'm like, no. That's not okay with me.
Yeah.
Like Donnie Darko is a cult classic. Right. That's because, while it's good, it has some problems. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. But it's got some problems. This movie should be loved by everyone. It's just that it's convoluted and kind of confusing. That's it. Yeah. This movie's not convoluted. It's not confusing.
Yeah.
Everyone should like it.
Yep.
I think, if you're not into art, you might get a little bored, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's no reason not to like this movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I'm going to find a screenshot, and it's going to be the background on my computer now.
It's going to be the background on everything, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also liked that the dregs...
That's the highest compliment I can pay to a piece of art.
It's true. Well, and I like that the dregs looked aquatic, but weren't. You ever notice that? There's no water.
That's true.
I was just thinking about that. There's no water on that planet. There's really not that much. There's no liquid.
I mean, it rains.
Yeah.
At that one part, but that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's like the only reference to water.
Yeah, but it's not specific.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. And I think one last thing here is with the meditation. I was like, okay, this is cool. They're like meditating. That's why they're so enlightened, so smart, this and that.
Right.
When it turns out it's a mating ritual.
Yep.
It is not.
And that's what I mean, where I just didn't expect that.
But that's realistic.
Yeah.
Not that meditation is powerful. Meditating
I didn't
is
expect
great,
the meditation to really play a role in anything. Yeah. And then I also didn't expect it to be that.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was a factor of their culture.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, this is something they do, something the adults do, and they're like, now the kids are getting into meditating. It's like, and then you find out what it is. I'm like, oh.
So yep.
That's interesting.
That's why the kids weren't meditating at 5.
Yeah. This adds up.
Young. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
There's a clear, differentiation between kids and adults, but there's no direct,
right,
like age groups or this and that. And I don't know. I also liked how like kind of desolate the planet was, because to me, that tells you how smart these dregs are. Not in the sense, like in the sense that they don't need much. Like their technology is so good that their items are so multi-use. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
They don't have schools. They don't need that. They have a headset. That's it. Imagine all that space gone.
And even a lot of the vegetation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Seems all fantastic and amazing until you really think about those in comparison to the humans and the drags.
Right.
It's like it's no bigger than like a small bush.
Right.
Like almost all of the vegetation is small.
Yeah. The drags are huge.
Yeah. Like nothing is their size really, except for their houses. That's it.
Yeah.
Everything else on the planet is basically human sized.
Yeah.
Or slightly larger.
I don't know. It just seems like, well, it's a weird thing to see a society so technologically advanced while also being so simple.
Yeah.
Usually complexity and intelligence go together. So, and this kind of just spit in the face of that, which I think is interesting. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah. I agree. It's great.
Great movie. Watch it.
Everybody should watch it.
Yeah.
Even though we kind of just spoiled some of the things for you, but it doesn't matter because it's beautiful more than anything.
But honestly, what the hell is wrong with you if you listen to this and not watch it, man? Go watch it. And honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. There's no part, like if the entire movie had been spoiled for me, I still would have watched it. Yeah, and I wouldn't have, like, it would have made it marginally not as good, but yeah, the experience. But I really wouldn't care, because unless you've seen it, you don't have your own interpretation. Right. And that's what this movie gives you. Yep. Well, yeah. And just as a general rule, yeah, I suppose, if you're listening to this podcast, you should have watched the film already. Yeah. That's kind of the point. Yeah. I'm not going to be one of those guys that's like, oh, spoiler free till... No. Yeah. Watch the damn movie. Yeah. And I feel like this is one of those podcasts that, you go through the episodes, Yeah. Like, you don't have to watch everyone. I mean, if you do, thanks. But you don't have to. Just watch the ones of the movies you've seen. The ones either you like, whatever. Right. This is not a movie recommendation podcast. That's not the way this is. It's not even really, I mean, I guess it's a review, but I don't even like to call it that, because then I'm going to tell, that means that I'm going to tell you if it's good. I'm going to give it a score. I'm going to do this and that. No. I just want to talk about it. This is a conversation. That's all it is. Yeah. That's all I want it to be. Right. Because if you're like me and you're into weird shit and you live in the middle of nowhere and your friends aren't necessarily into what you're into, you have someone to talk about it with. That's why when people talk shit about reviewers, they're like, why do you care about someone's opinion about something that you've observed? I'm like, it's not necessarily that I care about their opinion or I'm going to take it to heart. I need someone to talk about it with, and like, obviously there's no direct conversation, but it's something. Right. When you see a movie, you talk about it with your friends. That's the way it is. Right. And yeah, I mean, you'll listen to one of them talk and they say something and you're like, no way, I didn't see that. Right. At all. But no. Yeah. But you just think it in your head, whatever. Yeah, exactly. So I think this is really what it's for. So watch the movie. That's really all that's going to go on. And yeah. Yep. I don't think this podcast should go too long, because the movie wasn't too long. Just keep it short and sweet. It's true, because we're going to start pushing the length of the entire film, and that's just weird. You can't talk about a movie longer than the damn movie. That ain't right. For sure. Doesn't make much sense. Yeah. So anyway, great flick. watch it. It's a classic.
Yep.
Especially if you like 2D animation. If you like 2D animation, you're gonna be rock hard the entire time.
If you're into art, like really into art, just as a
actually, especially if you draw. If you're like an illustrator, definitely watch it. You'll really appreciate it.
Yep.
I think that about sums it up.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah, right on. Later.
Peace.